The McLaren brand is home to some of the most insane supercars to ever exist, from V12 speedsters like the 765 LT to multi-million-dollar collectibles like the McLaren P1. McLaren remains one of the most unique and desirable car brands out there. Even their exterior design is enough to make any car geek drool at just the very sight of it. But with all the good aspects that McLaren brings to their models, there is one McLaren that stands alone from the pack as quite possibly the worst of the group. A car that, for better or for worse, seems to me like McLaren is trying a little bit too hard. Enter the McLaren Artura. The McLaren Artura, first introduced last year, was intended to be an entry-level car for anyone climbing up the ranks in the world. The English brand wanted a car that had similar performance to their higher-end models, and an attractive exterior look that would become indistinguishable for anyone who didn't know cars. They felt, in a tight and crazy economy, that making a much more affordable car would attract new customers and bring new people to become lifelong McLaren drivers. However, regardless of how it looks on the outside, McLaren miserably failed on making an entry-level car that buyers would actually want to buy. Outside of the model being McLaren's first attempt, and I say that lightly, at making a hybrid supercar, other common issues that McLarens have are still present in the McLaren Artura. Some of the most famous issues, including terrible steering, a tight and uncomfortable interior if you're above 5'8", constant brake issues, and an unpractical body design. Now, granted, a lot of these issues are present in other supercars across many different brands, so I'm not going to hold it too much against the Artura. But what else could possibly be so bad for me to know that the McLaren Artura just sucks? When it comes to performance, nobody is going to be shocked that the Artura is both quick and powerful. Holding a twin-turboed V6 engine, the Artura makes 670 horsepower and 530 foot-pound of torque, and has a 0 to 60 of just 2.6 seconds and a top speed of 200 miles an hour. The car also has an added electric motor that gives you a useless 10 miles of electric battery. And yes, since the McLaren Artura is designed to be an entry-level car, it would make sense that the speed and power would be downsized a bit. But if you compare it to other cars from different brands, it really doesn't make sense why you would go with the Artura. The best comparison is McLaren's older brother, Ferrari. Ferrari also has a hybrid car in the same price range as the Artura, called the Ferrari 296. The 296 has the same V6 twin-turbo engine, but instead produces 817 horsepower with a 0 to 60 of 2.4 seconds and producing 550 pound-feet of torque. And even more, the steering on the Ferrari 296 is light years better, making the overall driving experience 10 times better. Even BMW and Porsche have models with similar speed numbers as the Artura, but cost a third of the price. Other issues that lie with the McLaren Artura that don't involve the overall driving experience are inside the car. The interior of the Artura is both stylish and luxurious. McLaren is known for having stunning interiors, and there is no drop-off when looking at the Artura. However, one of the biggest issues is the lack of visibility and huge blind spots that make the already rough driving experience that much worse. Because of its sleek and low-to-the-ground design, not only do you have to be cautious of potholes and speed bumps, but overall driving is going to be much more difficult in the Artura. And for those of you who think I'm just hating on the Artura and McLaren overall, let's use the 765 LT as an example. The 765 LT, granted, has a low-profile design and poor steering, but the blind spots aren't nearly as bad, and the interior of the car is much larger. And even though the price of the 765 LT is literally insane, it holds a higher top speed, and some models even have 1,000 horsepower capabilities. It's also regarded as one of the fastest track cars ever produced, so really there's no comparison. The main issue with the McLaren Artura is why would you buy it if there's so many other options? McLaren's main attractions are insane levels of power and exotic and over-the-top exterior design, and McLaren just tames everything down for the Artura. A price of $240,000 puts it in the price range of cars like the Ferrari 296, Porsche GT3 RS, and other models that have peak driving experiences and none of the downsides that the Artura has. Overall, the main issue is what you and I love about McLaren cars, you're just not getting it with the 2024 McLaren Artura.